Alright, so I just show you how to create a first table on Access. So since we start recording, I'm going to show you again with customer order table, maybe. So now how to add a new table here, right? You're going to say create table. It's going to come here. Right, and then the same thing, you can just do order ID quantity. To do order ID, double click on your ID and name order ID. I'm going to use lowercase. Quantity should be what? Number. So QTY. Customer ID should be number, correct? So customer ID. So customer ID and book ID and order date. So book ID also number. It's very important to select the data type correctly. Especially I saw a lot of students making this mistake with the ID. You happen to do text, you have to do number. If you do auto number, here is always number. Book ID, right? And now we have order date. So that should be date and time, right? Order date. Okay, so when you do that, you can just pick the date. Pop up like that. Like today date. Like that one, you don't have to worry. It's auto generated for you. Like order ID, which it may not match your data, which is fine. We want to go with this. Okay, we want to go with the auto generated. Okay, 1 3. Okay, 1 3. Now book ID, it could be 1 because when we create a book table, or let's see, it could be when we import, it can just do 3 4 7 8 9. So now I'm gonna put 3 4 7 8 9. Since we're gonna show you another way to import the data in. So I'm gonna save this by hitting the diskette icon and name the table book in caps. You can keep doing that for the rest, right? Now that's one way to insert data. I'm going to show you the second way. By if you already have the data on your Excel like that, your table in separate sheets, I can just import them at once. So I'm going to say book and shipping address, and actually that should name order, right? You can always rename it. Right click and rename. Oh, it's open. I have to close it before you can rename it. And it's always good practice for you if you make any changes to the fields, add more fields, change the data type, or anything, always close that. Otherwise it's going to keep popping while you cannot make any changes when you have it open. Alright, now we're going to go to external data to import. Like I said, you can do from text file, you can do from XML, HTML, Outlook, data services, SharePoint. You can do from Excel or another Access too. You can do connect directly to another database. This is another database. Okay, like you can connect to Oracle database and put it there from there to access too. Now we're gonna just copy from Excel. So it's just put a file path where you want to take it from. Okay. Automation. Okay. Now we're gonna copy from Excel, which you're going to scroll down to where the files is gonna be. I have it on my external drive. And the book data is the file. And then an option, import the source data into a new table. Yes, you can have an option to append. Like if you happen to have more data for customer, then you can append it to the same existing table customer. Okay, or you don't need to import. You can just make a link to that Excel. What it means is you always have to have that Excel in that path. Otherwise, you cannot link to it. Make sense? Your data can be on Excel itself and link to it instead. Whenever you open a database, it's going to link to Excel. You always have to have the Excel files in that case. We're going to do import. Alright, so since it's going to pick up both, like I said, if you have 10 spreadsheets, 10 tables, it's going to pick up all of them. Right? And you can use, you say your spreadsheet file contains more than one worksheet. Which worksheet arranged would you like? So it's going to ask you which one you want to import, right? I try to see if I want to import book. Now it's going to add the title as your first record. Maybe we don't want to do that. By first row column, check that contains the headings, so it's going to make the headings for you. Next, do you want to change the name? This is going to be a place it's allow you to do that. We're going to keep the same name. Do you want to change the data type? Yeah, I want to have it as integer. Okay, not the. You can do long. What's the difference between integer and long? Integer is 32 bits. It's going to be between. The maximum is not going to go over than 5 digits. Okay. Like this one, only 5, which is fine. If you have 6 digits, you want to go a bit long. Okay, if you talk about you can have million of books, you want to go a bit long. Okay. Of course, we don't want this. This is the primary key, right? Yes, and no duplicates, right? It's an index, right? You can also pick the fields that you don't want to import. See? But now we're going to use them all. Short text is fine. Short text, short text. Price going to be currency, right? To make sure you have the right data type. It's not indexed. Not indexed, not indexed. So this looks good. You can rename it too right here. Next. You can let the ACCESS add the primary key like that. Or you're going to choose your own primary key, which is that. Okay. Import to table name is going to be your sheet name by default. Okay. If you want to save the step, you can, but I don't need to. Now we get the data in. Voila. We don't need to type them. Good. Let me show you one more time. Go to the table again. Now I want to import shipping address. Next. Next. So that should be an integer. That should be a short text. That should be a short text. Same short text. Zip code. Let's make it short text because sometimes we have dash, right? And shipping address is yes, no duplicate, right? Primary key. Finish. You have that in. That's also another easy way, right? Another way to insert table, create table, insert data. So now we have book, customer, order, shipping address. Let's look at our design again. Book, order, shipping address, customer, shipping address. I don't have that yet, right? So I'm going to create that table. Alright, so go to create table, and you can switch this. So by default it's show you the sheet view. You can just switch to design view. It's going to prompt you to save the table name, which is customer shipping address name of the table. So it's going to switch to the design view. So the design view is actually a good place to do the data creating table too. Why? Because you don't need to double click anything. You can just go by each row here. This is customer shipping address ID. And then auto number, that's what we want. ID always auto number, auto generated. And description is where? The data dictionary. You define what is it, right? Like now, what is customer shipping address ID? Identify shipping, customer shipping address. Right. Now we want to have customer ID. We already have customer ID here. Define it. So I'm going to just copy this and put it right here. I can create everything at the same time for this design view. Customer ID. And don't forget that by default it's always short tag, and a lot of people make mistake. You have to do number because you make it as number earlier, right? Unless you make your ID as not auto number, then you have to do text. So they'll have to be matched because this is your foreign key. Foreign keys has to be matched to your customer table. If you switch to this design view is number, then it has to be the same number. Okay, auto number, that means it's still number. It's just increment for you when you insert a new record. And then we need shipping ID. Same on shipping address. May need to name shipping address ID, right? This is gonna be, if you switch to this, I have to save it first. Oh, I see. I forget when I import this, I didn't check that to select my primary key. It's insert, not a primary key for me. So what I can do is this, switching this. See this? I can make this as a primary key manually when you do design view, right? Click on the field and make primary key. And then you can make it as, like now, since it's not doing auto number, you may have to do manually enter your shipping ID. So I'm going to delete the rows. Okay? This is the one that we import in. Like customer, that's auto number, order, we created, right? Book, we import that. That's gonna be number. You see that? Not auto number because we import them. We have to manually enter it. Okay. Now I should be able to do linking to the new table that I just create here, right? And design view, name it customer shipping ID, right?